Imagine you're a samurai, a warrior who has sworn loyalty to your feudal lord. You have trained all your life in the art of swordsmanship, archery, and horseback riding. You follow a strict code of honor, called Bushido, that values loyalty, courage, and justice. You are proud of your heritage and your culture, which has been shaped by centuries of isolation from the rest of the world. But now, everything is changing. Foreign ships have arrived on your shores, bringing with them new weapons, new ideas, and new demands. They want to trade with you, but they also want to influence you. They want to convert you to their religion, but they also want to exploit you. They want to open your country, but they also want to dominate you. You are faced with a choice: to resist or to adapt, to fight or to surrender, to die or to live. This is the story of the Boshin War, a civil war that changed the course of Japanese history. The Boshin War was a conflict that took place between 1868 and 1869, between the supporters of the Tokugawa shogunate and the loyalists of the Meiji Emperor. The shogunate was a feudal military dictatorship that had ruled Japan for over 250 years, since the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. The shogunate had maintained a policy of national isolation, called sakoku, that prohibited Japanese people from leaving the country and foreign traders from entering it, except for a few designated ports. The shogunate had also suppressed the spread of Christianity and foreign influence, and had kept the imperial family as a figurehead with no real power. The Meiji Emperor was the symbolic ruler of Japan, who claimed to be the direct descendant of the sun goddess, Amaterasu. The emperor had been living in the imperial palace in Kyoto, with little involvement in the affairs of the state. However, in 1867, the 15-year-old emperor, Mutsuhito, ascended to the throne and took the name Meiji, meaning enlightened rule. He was supported by a group of young and ambitious samurai who wanted to restore the imperial power and modernize Japan. They were inspired by the examples of the United States and Europe, which had undergone industrial and political revolutions and had become powerful and prosperous nations. They also wanted to resist the pressure of the foreign powers, which had forced Japan to sign unequal treaties that violated its sovereignty and dignity. The trigger for the war was the arrival of Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States Navy in 1853, with his black ships that carried cannons and steam engines. Perry demanded that Japan open its ports to trade and diplomacy, and threatened to use force if Japan refused. The shogunate, which had no effective navy or modern weapons, had no choice but to comply. Perry's visit sparked a wave of discontent and unrest among the Japanese people, who saw the shogunate as weak and incompetent. Many samurai, especially from the southern domains of Satsuma and Choshu, felt betrayed and humiliated by the shogunate's capitulation to the foreigners. They formed alliances and militias and began to plot against the shogunate. The war began on January 3, 1868, when the imperial loyalists seized the imperial palace in Kyoto and declared the restoration of the Meiji Emperor. They also issued an edict that abolished the shogunate and ordered all the feudal lords to surrender their lands and armies to the emperor. The shogun, Tokugawa Yoshinobu, initially accepted the edict, but soon changed his mind and decided to resist. He gathered his loyal forces, mainly from the northern and eastern domains, and prepared to march on Kyoto. The loyalists, on the other hand, mobilized their troops, mainly from the southern and western domains, and advanced to meet the shogunate forces. The first major battle of the war was the Battle of Toba-Fushimi, which took place from January 27 to 31, 1868, near Kyoto. The battle involved about 15,000 loyalist troops and 17,000 shogunate troops. The loyalists had the advantage of modern rifles and artillery, which they had obtained from the British and the French. The shogunate troops had mostly traditional weapons, such as swords and spears, and some outdated guns. The loyalists also had the support of the local population, who cheered for them and provided them with supplies. The shogunate troops, on the other hand, faced hostility and resistance from the locals, who threw stones and insults at them. The battle ended with a decisive victory for the loyalists, who inflicted heavy casualties on the shogunate troops and forced them to retreat. The battle also marked the end of the shogun's elite guard, the Shinsengumi, who fought bravely but were outnumbered and outgunned by the loyalists. The battle also convinced many feudal lords to switch sides and join the loyalists, as they saw the shogunate's weakness in the emperor's legitimacy. The next major battle of the war was the Battle of Ueno, which took place on July 4, 1868, in Edo, the capital of the shogunate. The battle involved about 15,000 loyalist troops and 2,000 shogunate troops. The loyalists had besieged the city for several months and had cut off its supply lines and communication. The shogunate troops had taken refuge in the Kanei-ji Temple, which was located on a hill overlooking the city. The temple was also the burial site of many Tokugawa shoguns and was considered a sacred and symbolic place. The loyalists launched a frontal assault on the temple and faced fierce resistance from the shogunate troops, who fought with swords, guns, and even rocks and fire. The battle ended with a bloody victory for the Loyalists, who stormed the temple and set it on fire. The battle also resulted in the death of the shogun's cousin, Tokugawa Keiki, who was the last hope of the shogunate's restoration. He committed seppuku, or ritual suicide, in the temple, and his head was taken by the Loyalists as a trophy. The battle also marked the fall of Edo, which was renamed Tokyo by the emperor and became the new capital of Japan. The final major battle of the war was the Battle of Hakodate, which took place from April 4th to June 27th, 1869, in Hokkaido, the northernmost island of Japan. The battle involved about 7,000 Loyalist troops and 3,000 shogunate troops. The shogunate troops had fled to Hokkaido after the fall of Edo and had established the Republic of Ezo, a short-lived state that claimed independence from Japan. The shogunate troops had also taken over the shogun's navy, which consisted of 8 modern warships, and had fortified the Goryokaku fortress, a star-shaped citadel in Hakodate. The Loyalists had also acquired a navy, with the help of the French, and had sailed to Hokkaido to crush the rebellion. The Loyalists had also recruited some Ainu, the indigenous people of Hokkaido, to fight with them. The battle was fought on land, sea, and air, as both sides used rifles, cannons, warships, and even hot air balloons. The battle ended with a complete victory for the Loyalists, who captured the fortress and the ships and forced the shogunate troops to surrender. The battle also marked the end of the shogunate's navy, which had defected from the shogun and had fought for the Republic of Ezo. The battle also marked the end of the war, as the last shogunate stronghold, the Goryokaku fortress, surrendered to the Loyalist forces. The war resulted in the death of about 120,000 people, mostly samurai, and the end of the feudal system in Japan. The war also resulted in the victory of the Meiji Restoration, which ushered in a period of rapid and radical changes in Japan, such as the abolition of the samurai class, the establishment of a constitutional monarchy, the adoption of a Western-style legal system, the promotion of industrialization and urbanization, the expansion of education and communication, the creation of a national army and navy, and the opening of the country to the world. The Meiji Restoration also transformed Japan from a feudal society to a major world power in less than half a century, and set the stage for its future role in the global stage. The Boshin War was not only a war of swords and guns, but also a war of ideas and values. It was a war that challenged the old and the new, the tradition and the innovation, the isolation and the integration, the loyalty and the rebellion, the death and the life. It was a war that shaped the destiny of Japan and its people.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and leave a like for more oversimplified videos like this on the Simple Tales YouTube channel.